TV. It is 9:30 Eastern Time, and every Tuesday, Del Didway is our guest. He is standing by. We are recording and we are streaming, and we have a chat room waiting. So we will switch to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, good afternoon, good evening. It is Coach Prasick here, and we are getting used to the new way that YouTube does business. And if some of you were, well, anyway, it's Del Didway night. See, right there, got your coffee. I hope you have brought your favorite beverage. Coffee is usually ranks high among the PJNet family and many of the writers that have so generously joined us. And Del Didway last week said that he had something he wanted to possibly share with us this week. Now, Del, I went on your website at your blog today, deldidway.com. I didn't see anything new. Did I read the wrong article?
Probably.
Del, are you going to tell us that it's something new, that you have a new project? I mean, that's normal. That's not new for you.
Well, that's new for me. Well, yeah, you're right, but still, it's new for my co-author. John Wang is a really good guy that I've met over the years, and a really good author, a good writer. He's a really good writer. Just has a book out recently. He self-published a book along with a well-known personality in the Cincinnati area, and John and I have known each other. We met at the Bengals games. We were both covering the Bengals. And for the first few games, we just kind of sat next to each other, didn't really engage in much conversation.
How long ago was that?
Three seasons ago.
Okay.
So we just kind of, hi, good to see you again. And that was it. But, after a while, you get to have conversations with people, and you get to start talking to people. And I found out that, John was a believer, and we had a great conversation. And so, we just had a friendship, and we just kept, like, he would write occasionally for our Southern Ohio Christian Voice website, and then just kept progressing. And then, he took an interest in my journey, and we would have lunch and sit and chat, and would have phone conversations and chat, and just kind of developed. And then like last season, I had another book come out, and John took an interest in it, not just because it was sport. This one wasn't sports related. So just like everybody, everybody goes through struggles, personal struggles, and John was having a kind of a scare with cancer, and it kind of gave us more time to bond and more time to get to know each other. And his desire was to write a book. He had all these aspirations, and that was one of his goals, was to be published. And so he took an interest in Kyle, and he started following me a little bit more. And our my series of books, on the Buckeyes and the Bengals and Michigan and all these other ones, John actively would, endorse them and write blurbs for them. And he covers Kentucky basketball. He covers Kentucky Wildcats in football and basketball. And so after the Michigan book came out, and we just kind of started talking, and he said, how about a Kentucky book based on the same, the format of the Michigan Motivations, along with Indiana University Press. And so I pitched it to IUP. Well, first of all, we pitched it to Kentucky, and because we know one of the editors there pretty well. And she said, I love that. It'd be a great idea, but she said it's going to be a process. It's going to be a lengthy process, and it may not be approved. And because you're dealing with the brand, you're dealing with the University of Kentucky's brand,
right? And
with they got to be real particular, and they would have their hands in a little bit more. And so I reached out to the publishers who have done Michigan Motivations, who have done Heart of a Hoosier, which will be out next year. And we pitched it to Dave, and he came back and he says, I love it. So, Kentucky's got a huge fan base, and let's capitalize on that. So John and I, we went through Kyle and we were able to reach an agreement, and we're going to have some pictures in this one, which would be awesome because John's brother is a professional photographer and has a gazillion pictures of UK basketball. So, the title is going to be Kentucky Passion, and so which led to my blog. What's your passion? What are you passionate about? And so, that'll be out next year. I'm not complaining at all. I think I'm very blessed, but I'll have 4 releases next year, which will be kind of a lot. I mean, it's hard to promote them, when you have, more than 1 or 2. And so we're going to have 4 out. We have Dugout Devotions Volume 2, First Down Devotions Volume 2, Heart of a Hoosier with Michelle Medlock Adams, and now Kentucky Passion. So we're writing this right now, fast and furious. We have a deadline of December 1. So we're trying to write a chapter a day on that and get it to them by the 1st of December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you now when you encountered, his name's John. Okay.
Yes.
You were basically peers. Okay. Is that the best way? He worked for his people and you worked for yourself, I guess, or whatever.
Well, yeah, I was editor cover for our paper, but I was doing both. Yes.
Okay. Was there any sense of I'm gonna get the scoop on this, and I'm not going to tell y'all that I know, and he's not going to tell y'all that was there any sense of that competitive professionalism?
Not in the sports writing world. That's different from news. Sports writers help each other.
Really?
Yeah, you'll be sitting in the game and you may miss something. You'll say, "Who made that tackle?" Well, number 15 did. Okay, great, thanks.
Okay.
And yeah, sports writers help each other out. It's not this competitive news.
Yeah, there's not a rivalry there at all.
No. Well, I've never encountered one. I've done it a long time. So sports writers help each other, and they always have.
Now, what sport were you covering when you and he were together?
We would go to the Bengals games. We covered Bengals games.
That's football.
Together.
Okay.
Yes. In Cincinnati's terms, supposed to be football.
Well, yeah. Your blog has some interesting metaphors. Folks, DellDidway.com, a rather interesting use of colorful.
There's some jabs.
Yeah, there are some interesting jabs in there. So he must have some connection to Kentucky. You didn't just throw a dart.
He went there. Yeah.
Okay, he's an alum.
John went there, and now he's an eye doctor, and so he did that for a long time and sold his practice, and now is living. He always wanted to be a sports writer. So the last 4, 5, 6 years, he's been a sports writer, and he loves it.
So he retired. And he worked as an eye doctor, so he could afford to be a sports writer.
Yeah, so he sold his practice a few years ago and just said, "I'm tired of this stuff, and I want to do what I want to do. I want to have my passion." In fact, I wrote a blog about John about when we first met about 3 or 4 years ago, and just about how God will introduce you to people, because I didn't know he was a believer. He didn't know I was one until we started having a conversation, and it just happened. We just started. I was talking about one of my manuscripts about. Having impossible faith. That came up in a conversation, and he started asking me about it. And it was back when I was having really severe back issues. I think it was 4 years ago. And I was having debilitating back issues. And so that came up, and I was telling him what happened. How it was healed. And I've never been, I don't know if I've ever told this story here on PJNet.
No.
About 4 years ago, right about this time, when I first went to the Florida Christian Writers Conference, when I first met Kyle, my very first Christian Writers Conference, the Asheville Conference, was when I first met Michelle, and I didn't know any of these people. I'm sitting there in this conference, and I start getting these little tingles in my back, and I would stand up, and it would feel like a pinched nerve, just real fast, just boom, boom, like I stood up too quick or something. And as the week went on, they got worse. They got longer. And instead of 2 seconds, it was 4 seconds, and then 8 seconds, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse to where, I didn't know what it was because I'd never had a back issue. And so I went home, Went to a chiropractor, and then I was leaving the next week to go down to Florida. And down in Florida, it really intensified. And that's where I met Kyle, and he became my agent. But I was having these hideous, sharp pains in my lower back that would just radiate down my leg, and it felt like my feet were on fire. And so it got so bad one time that I was in a Kroger's. We were doing some shopping, and I had to lay down in the aisle. It took me down. It took me down to where I couldn't stand anymore. And so, long story short, it's a very lengthy conversation, but through physical therapy, which was a complete disaster, to going to a well-renowned sports orthopedic place here in Cincinnati, or close to Cincinnati. And they did an MRI, and they found a cyst about the size of my thumbnail on my lower spine that was hitting my SI joint, which is where the nerves come together. So it would, if I turn a certain way, it would hit those nerves, and man, it would just,
I've had back problems one time, and it'll make a grown man cry. It will bring, and you don't realize how much you use your back until you can't, like get something out of the back of the car,
I would roll out of the car, but I couldn't predict when it would hit me. It would just be sporadic. If I turn a certain way, I'd just go down to my knees. And so this went on for about a year. Finally, we had surgery, and we were going to have a surgery date set up for December 15th. And I believe in healing. I was never healed in the past, so I can't speak to that. And so there's this lady at our church who's just different. And if you meet her, you just know that she's different. And she's has a very successful ministry, but she's what I wrote last week. She's peculiar. So her and her daughter came up to me, and they said, "How's your back?" I said, "It's killing me. Thank you." This was after a Wednesday night service. And I'm not going to say anything this didn't happen. All right. I'm going to tell you what happened. They came up to me and they said, "Dale, how's your back?" I said, "It's killing me. Thanks for asking. Please get out of the way. I want to go home." I didn't say it like that, but I was wanting to say it like that. And they said, "Well, can we take a second and pray for you?" I said, "Quickly, please, quickly." And I swear, Mark, it was 5 minutes long, and I was just like I was sweating. It was hurting so bad. And so I go home, and the next day, I'd been taking close to 8 to 10 Advil a day, Motrin a day. I was like living on it. And I was preparing to get, the surgery. This was in October. And the surgery was set for December 15th. And so I get up the next day on Thursday, and towards the end of the day, I noticed I hadn't taken any Motrin. And then Friday rolled around. I said, "I haven't taken any Motrin today." And I wasn't having any back pain. But again, I was skeptical because it would come and go. It would come, a couple of days later. Yeah. So I was waiting on this pain to hit me. I've been waiting on it. And so Saturday rolls around, Sunday rolls around. I'm like, I've had any pain for 4 days. And so, and I was reluctant. I was hesitant because I've seen people in the past get up and go kind of crazy in church, and then it doesn't work out, So I was optimistic, and I was kind of cautious. I didn't want to
cautiously optimistic. Yeah.
I didn't want to stand up and say I'm healed, and then I'm not. So I waited for several months without back pain, and I have not had one issue since that day, since that evening prayer. And so I was like, maybe is this how it works? And I waited about 6 months before I told folks in church. I told our Sunday school class, and I went up and told Jamie. I said, you prayed for me like 3 months ago, and I haven't had a pain since. And that's honestly what happened.
What about the surgery that was scheduled?
All right, a good question, because I called them about 2 weeks prior. And Beacon Orthopedics, they take care of the Reds. They take care of the Bengals. They're pretty well known.
The people with money. What were you doing there?
Yeah. So first class operation. But I call her. I say, "Look, I haven't had a pain for like 4 weeks. What do I do here?" And she looks back through my chart. She said, "Well, what's your pain level? Because when you were in here last time, it was 10 of 10." I said, "It's 0." She goes, "Okay, great." She says, "Call us back in about a week." And I told her what happened. I said, because I had gone in about 2 weeks prior to the incident, I'll call it, they gave me 4 spinal injections, 4 shots in my spine.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was a blast, yeah. And you know it's going to be bad when the doctor says, "Hey, Dale, this is going to hurt." Yeah, when the doctor tells you it's going to hurt, it was awful. And I said, "When will I start feeling the effect? When will this work?" And he goes, "Tomorrow. You'll feel better tomorrow." And the next day came, and it was a gazillion times worse.
Ooh.
And I called them. I said, "This is killing me." And then I called them up about a week later. I said, "This is not." She said, "This should have worked by now." I said, "It's angered it. It's ticked off this cyst because it's really, you know." And so, so when we had the conversation, I said, "Look, this is what happened. I got the shots about 2 weeks later. Jamie prays for me, and I don't have any pain." She says, "Okay, well, great. Call me back a week later." So I call her back a week before the surgery. I said, "What do I do?" She goes, "How's your pain level?" I said, "It doesn't exist." And she says, "Well, I don't think the shots worked because those should have worked immediately." She says, "Maybe the shots worked. Maybe the prayer worked. Who cares? We're canceling your surgery."
There you go.
I haven't had pain since. And I would rank it up there with when I had a kidney stone. It was that intense of pain. But so that's that story. And I don't know how we got off on that, but I was telling John about that. I was just having that in a conversation, not with John, but with another writer that I know real well. And John overheard the conversation. And he says, "Well, tell me more about this." So we started talking. I said, "Well, I was healed." And so he said, we started talking. He said, "Well, I'm a believer." And so that's how our friendship started. And, John had a little scare with cancer, I think, last season. And, it's if you're going to get cancer, it's the most curable cancer for a man to get. And so it was in remission, and they got it all. But through all this, John and I stay in touch. I mean, I put a picture on the blog. We were at the Indy 500. I talked him into going to the race, and he had a blast. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah, you didn't go this year.
Didn't go this year. So 2 years ago, John went for the first time. He's like, "This is awesome." So we just have a good friendship going. We're not best buddies, but we're good friends.
Right.
And so we're excited about doing this project. He's writing some really good stuff. I've been reading it. So that's
it was his idea based on his research of your ideas.
Yeah, kind of a mutual thing. Yeah. I've always wanted.
You didn't mark him; he marked you, but he did his homework.
Yeah, I mean, he saw what would go, and so we were having a conversation. I don't know, about a month ago, maybe. Yeah, probably a month ago. And I said, "John, what about a Kentucky book?" And he's like, "Yes, let's try it." So we pitched it, and then, fortunately enough, the publisher, the Kentucky publisher, said, "Well, you might want to reach out to Dave because this may take a while." All right, so reached out to Dave at IUP, and Kyle did, and they loved it, and they're excited because John's brother's pictures are awesome. So this will have about 30 to 40 pictures in it, and Big Blue Nation, Kentucky basketball is pretty intense.
It's very intense.
Passionate.
I was setting up a jab earlier because I was noting that the two of you were covering football games. So I was going to ask, well, why not cover Kentucky football? Well, I already know the answer.
Yeah, it's about as bad as the Bengals.
Yeah, Kentucky is not known for football. Well, actually, it is not in a good way, but yeah.
Well, they're getting better.
Kentucky's who you schedule for your homecoming.
That's just like Ohio State football. And Duke basketball, it's what the schools are known for.
Right.
So Kentucky basketball, and that's where we got obviously the word passion, Kentucky passion, and John's passion and my passion. So they all it was a good fit for everybody. And
they're actually Kentucky's an interesting university because they are noted for their basketball, but there's some other things that they are noted for that are. Well, not as noteworthy, but their cheerleading squad is among the very best in the world. It's hard to get on that cheerleading. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talk to Michelle about that because she wrote a book about cheerleaders.
Okay. The other thing that's done at the University of Kentucky, They have a let's call it the what's that darn cop show with forensics.
CSI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Apparently
I've never
somebody
seen an
gave them
episode.
a bunch of property, and what they do, they take cadavers out there and have them in varying stages of decay. And all the police academies and all that's the NCI school on forensics.
Interesting.
Really, it just
Well, worms got to eat too, I guess.
it's fertile soil. Anyway,
But yeah, so I guess the whole point of the blog was passion, and John's passion, and our passion, and the Kentucky passion. It was a good fit for everybody, and people can lose their passion. They're not lose their passion, but they can kind of it can be kind of squelched at times. All it takes is I had a text message last night from a friend of mine who's trying to get a book noticed, and this agent that I know kind of tore her apart, and she was very discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "I just can't believe they would say this to me." And I said, "Well, welcome to the world of Christian writing." So I said, "Well, look, let me look at it. I can't promise you, but I'll be nicer about it. I won't tell you it stinks or it's bad or terrible, but let me look at it and we'll see what happens with it." And she has a passion, and I've actually met it with her before, and she has a passion for writing. And people have a passion, whether it's writing or whether it's singing, whether it's hosting YouTube shows like you do, or PGNet TV. You have a passion for it, and everybody has that. And find your passion, and don't let anybody discourage you from it. And if you are starting to go back a little bit, there's things you can do to rekindle that passion, set goals, try to take it one step at a time, and mentor somebody, and encourage. If you encourage others, and they will hopefully encourage you. I try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that can restore your passion a little bit, because that's important, especially for a person who's a believer. You gotta be passionate about it. You can't just I'm a Christian, okay, whatever. But you gotta have a passion for it. You gotta do something about it. You gotta let your light shine some way. And
well, I will take a stab at being creative, or whatever the word is, you writers. Passion is like lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Okay. If you, and by the way, Dale, I really do enjoy your outdoor cooking posts on social media. But if you don't have lighter fluid, you're not really going to have much of a cookout. Okay.
Yeah.
So
unless you use gas. So,
it's good. Don't use gasoline. So in that sense, lighter fluid, like passion, is a good thing. Nobody that has excelled and done well did it without passion. Yet lighter fluid can also blow up and make fires. So unbridled passion, unchecked passion. The Bible says, "Seek the counsel of many," because your passions can take the place and become a substitute for common sense. Okay.
Right.
And it's a tough battle. I did a lot of studying of successful people early in my 20s. I just devoured everything, every rags to riches story. And Walt Disney was passionate. He believed in his dream, but nobody else did, Dale.
Oh, I know.
His family was seriously, they weren't going to Baker act him, but they were telling him to seek counsel. The bankers laughed at him. But he would not go. He persisted and persisted, and his passion drove him through, and look where it took him. But it's one of those touchy subjects, because you got to think with your head and your heart, and you can get them out of order. You've got to be passionate. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, find something to do that you can be passionate about.
Right, and there's a lot of things out there, but you can't be made to do it. So you'll find it, and if you can't find it, just keep searching. Just keep searching. Doing things. Keep doing good things, and something will happen.
Right.
Do something different.
Try some new things.
Try some new things. If you can't find what you're passionate about, try something else.
Well, Dale,
talk to other folks.
you began your writing journey at what age?
Well, this book journey,
Yeah, published writing. Yeah,
at like 49, 50.
yeah. So
And
that's not a spring chicken.
no, and I never had a desire to write a book, so never was on my radar. And here all of a sudden, I've kind of I'm very grateful.
You're gonna write
that
4
it's
next year.
exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 4. Well, they're already written. Well, the ones that we have dug out the first down. Volume 2 is already done and turned in, and Heart of a Hoosier was turned in, and then so yeah, we have four releases next year, and then 2 in 2022 already done. So yeah, I didn't have and there's a couple other ideas percolating.
Kyle's going to have to take out an insurance contract on you.
No, I gotta catch up with Michelle. I mean, she's got like 175 books or something like that. I forget.
She started a little earlier though.
Yeah, she started. She's only 31, so she started when she was 22. So, yeah, she'll like that. You can tell her I said that.
Yeah.
But no, we're excited about our book next year, Heart of a Hoosier. That's gonna be a fun one to get out.
It is funny because I'm hearing about these things, and I do kind of read up on you guys on social media, and I think you brought an interesting point up. Is how on earth can you promote that many? I mean, at some point you become if you do a decent job at all 4. When do you have time to talk about other things going on?
I've got I write it down weekly what I promote, and
you got a little schedule, a little tickler file.
I do now because we launched Bama Believer, Auburn Believer, and Michigan Motivations all within a month and a half. Mm-hmm. So I had 3 releases within. I mean that's good, but they were all because they were different publishers, so you can't really you got to go with what they want. So just got to do a little creative promotions and not skip one.
Yeah, the most complicated thing I have here is basically I'm on camera 4 nights a week. I have 4 shirts of different colors, so I have a system. Okay.
Yeah, I get it. So
I did not wear this blue shirt last Tuesday. I promise you.
And with John has some good connections. We got a couple of big names who are going to. Even if you don't follow Kentucky basketball, you're probably going to know these names. So who are going to endorse and write the forwards for the book, which will be phenomenal. And we'll try to have it released right when the season tips off. And that'll give us a little bit of time because we know the schedule for First Down and Dugout. And then Indiana will be in the summer. And then this will be probably October-ish, right when the season getting ready to tip off, October, November. We're going to try to have it for Midnight Madness, which is when Kentucky tips off. So we've got a couple of big names on board. We're pretty sure we do. So that'll be kind of cool.
Well, once you get the cover art designed, you do it in such a way that it can be made into a poster, so it could be a cardboard fan in the stands. Advertise your book that way.
Yeah, Indiana's that's really good. They did the Michigan cover. The Heart of a Hoosiers cover is awesome. We've already seen that, and I know the Kentucky book because they're really hyped up on this already. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, having that passion, being passionate about even if you're passionate about prayer, or passionate about singing, or passionate about visiting somebody, be passionate about it and do it, and have an influence and let people know your light shines that way. So it doesn't have to be glorious, and it doesn't have to be all this attention seeking and all this notoriety.
Right. It's not about notoriety.
No. So, some of the most things I've enjoyed the most, not a lot of people have known that I've done them. Yeah. And I like it that way. So,
well, the Bible tells us we're instructed to work as unto the Lord. Our satisfaction, our self-esteem, our sense of accomplishment should not come from out there. Yeah.
Well, I did this for a while, and then nobody knew about it. Some people knew about it, but I would go down to our local hospice unit about at night and take in some donuts or coffee to the nurses working at night. But
that's
I don't tell anybody. People, they love that. They love that. So do things like that.
There are many and that is a creative thing. Now, what qualifications does that require? A vehicle and $10 for some donuts or whatever.
Donuts and coffee, and just take it into them and say, "Here you go, enjoy," and then leave.
Wow.
So do that.
Wow.
Try that.
Challenge, yeah.
It'll make you feel good.
If not that, I challenge all of us to challenge ourselves to come up with something we can do, a random act of kindness or whatever, and hey, share it on social media, and or don't share it.
No, don't share it.
Yeah, don't share it.
I've done it for a couple of years, but I used to do it often. I wouldn't say regular, but occasionally.
Yeah, we need to come up with a code word that we could put on a hashtag that we could put on social media to express our joy of knowing we did something right.
If you did something right on social media right now, you probably get banned.
Yeah, it would soon
right
be.
Now.
Yeah. We did pretty good tonight, Del. We almost bottled the acid for the entire show.
I'm good.
All right, well, Del, it's great catching up with you. Congratulations, and to you and to John.
John maybe we could one night.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is maybe one night we could get to know him a little better, and he could get to know us a little better, because we certainly want to be as mutually beneficial and encouraging and uplifting and inspiring to one another as possible. So look forward to next week, Del. Appreciate you sharing and taking your time with us tonight.
Well, thanks everybody for being in the chat room too. I was unable to get on for some reason. I had an issue with my computer, but everybody for jumping on, for listening, we really appreciate it. And Jake had a good show as well. From what I saw of it.
Yep. We appreciate it. And all right, well, folks, Del Duduit right here on pjnet.tv. Now, okay, the good news is we almost got through that flawlessly. YouTube now they've changed the way that you do their live stream, okay? And it was really had me twisted in knots, and we pulled it off. And thanks to Sunbelt girl Barbara for making that transition on her end. But there was one thing I left out. Both broadcasts tonight, the title says Casper Stockham, left over from last night. I now know that there's one more little step we got to take, but everything went fine other than that. And if that's the worst thing that happened, folks, that we can rejoice. So many things going on, and I won't bore you with them tonight. Tomorrow night we have Lori Hayes, and she has already started putting together some material for her program tomorrow night. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, followed at 9:30 by Michelle Medlock Adams, who you heard Del just talking about. Folks, it is time for me to go, and well, I don't actually go. I stay. You get to go. You get to go to bed. Okay, I will be producing highlights video. That is my passion. I am just so thrilled when I see the highlights videos going out and getting viewed, and spreading the good news, the great news of Jesus Christ. Also, the encouragement, the inspiration, and the joy of walking with Christ right here. Folks, before I leave, I have to ask you this to ask yourself. 2 questions. Number 1. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? Number 2. How long ago was that? Folks, let's challenge ourselves to live joyously, passionately, and victoriously by never being satisfied with either answer.